of time, this is really a matter of time kind of thing. So excited for you, but let's get into this. What is going on, Marissa, the Fight Culture, joined today by A1 Combat's new women's featherweight champion, three-time no-gi black belt IBJJF world champion, Joy Pendell, who has some amazing news. I'm going to let you take the floor, let the people know, tell them what's going on in the career of Killjoy.
Yeah, so I just got an offer with Invicta, so I'm going to be fighting in 2.5 weeks. It's on a Wednesday in Kansas, November 6th. It'll be live on CBS Sports, so my first time being on national TV. That'll be awesome. And fighting Zarina Turi. Invicta told me that they're trying to rebuild their women's featherweight division. And so all these fights that they're having, a bunch of different women's featherweight fights, they're deciding, who their next contenders are going to be.
I am so excited to hear that. I mean, listen, we know Invicta FC is the mecca of women's MMA, truly breaking barriers, and they will continue to do so with a women's featherweight division, and hopefully eventually a women's open weight division. That would be really awesome as well. So unfortunately, I really wanted to get you on before you made the announcement on Instagram, but life was lifing, and we just couldn't get it done. But now we're here. You signed that contract to fight on Invicta FC, Zarina Turi. How do you pronounce her last name?
I think it's Turi.
Turi. So you're fighting Zarina Turi. Let's get into this fight a little bit. Let's break this down here on November 6th. Also a Wednesday. You got to love Invicta FC. They always do that on a Wednesday in Kansas City. So let's run through your career and where this is placing you on November 6th. So, from what I know, you had the loss to Carlene when we went to A1 Combat the first time for the featherweight.
So my pro career, so I made my debut against Carlene Chandler last November. Unfortunately, lost that fight through an act of God. Just like a very, very unlucky moment. I was trying to force another takedown, and that did not pay dividends. But that's okay. It's a good lesson to learn. And then 6 weeks later, I fought Jaylene Robledo and had a really good performance, solid, dominant, unanimous decision victory.
Right.
And then for whatever reason, A1 let Jaylene and Carlene fight in May instead of letting me have that rematch right away. But, whatever.
Right.
Things happen the way they happen, and you just got to roll with the punches and do what you can with it. So Carlene lost to Jaylene. Again, another unanimous decision victory. And so that kind of put Carlene in a weird place because she came into the fight with me at 0-1, and then now she's 0-1, and then beat me, so she was 1-1, and then she lost to Jaylene, so she's 1-2. So she's a little bit of a disgraced champ already going into our rematch. And then I had to I had another fight in July and won that fight by TKO via elbow strikes. I got a stoppage on that fight. So that was really good. And I didn't necessarily have to take that fight to get my rematch with Carlene, but I want to stay as active as possible. I mean, that's the point, is to improve and get better. And the only way to get better is going to be to keep putting myself out there. So, and Kaya was a good, appropriate matchup for me. So yeah, that was another good performance. And then I think 7 weeks or maybe 8 weeks after my fight with Kaya, then I was awarded that rematch. And then that rematch, obviously I won, and another just dominant unanimous decision. And yeah, and then Invicta reached out and asked me if I wanted to fight. And I told them I still want to be able to defend my A1 belt. I still would like to remain champion of A1. I'm not willing to just give that up and move on. But they said that was no problem. I could fight for them, fight for A1. And I like that. I like being a free agent so I can have more opportunities.
Right. Yeah. So, walking through that, you got that title, got that call, which is awesome. I think, what's really important, and I think what I always tell, these amateur female fighters is like, if there's anywhere you want to go, it's Invicta. Just the platform they have, the history they have, just the way they do it and approach it, it's amazing. But even if you don't want to stay committed on a contract, just as you're doing, just being on their platform is amazing. They represent female fighters and are kind of just like a pure funnel system to the UFC. So congratulations on that call. That is amazing. And I think that's what a lot of just female fighters are striving for, is to get that call from Invicta. And that's just the next step in your professional career, which is awesome to hear. But one thing I wanted to mention is a kind of red string moment here. Your opponent that you're fighting in Invicta also fought Robledo her last fight. And I think she
Yes.
lost via guillotine choke. So,
Yes.
going in there with that information, well, what do you take from this? What do you take from Zarina going into this fight?
Well, every fight's unique, so it wouldn't matter whether Zarina beat Jaylene or Jaylene beat her. That has nothing to do with how Zarina's going to perform against me. But it is interesting, of course, just watching all of Zarina's fights and realizing some of the weak points that she has, like in the clinch, and obviously a little bit sloppy in the grappling. So, of course, I'm going to try to capitalize on those things. Um, but she's 4-1, so, and I'm 3-1, so it's a really appropriate matchup. I see that she's a heavy striker. She's a banger, and she's a real fighter. She's really scrappy. She really gets after it. She's not scared. She's a little wild, which can both be a good thing, a really entertaining thing, but it can get her in trouble too. I mean, I felt like with Jaylene, she was like beating her up on the feet, but then she threw this kick and Jaylene caught it and took her down, and that led to the scramble that led to the guillotine. So she's definitely not a very cautious fighter. So I need to go into this fight expecting anything, ready for anything. And of course, I have a ton of respect for her as a martial artist. She looks, really good, really dangerous. So it's going to be a great test. I'm super excited for it.
Right. So what I like to do when I interview people is I like to reach out to people who may know of you, maybe trained with you. So I reached out to Savannah and Saluski. She has actually worked with FightCulture a couple of times, but she knows you over there with Thousand Year Warriors. And when I asked what kind of fighter is Joy, and how do you see Joy doing in this fight or in her career in general, and Savannah was excited to talk about you. She was excited to see where your career has gone so far, where it's going. And, she said that you have kind of ventured out and been able to travel, train with a bunch of awesome people. And one thing I wanted to ask her was, how do you see the improvement in Joy's striking? I think going into your first fight, the striking wasn't matching the grappling. It was hard to put together. But then you go into your last fight and I said, okay, Joy. All right, Joy, here we go. We're piecing it together. So she said your experience is coming just from traveling and working with so many people. How do you feel your career is at this point? In my opinion, you are putting the pieces together and it's flowing. So how do you feel you're doing personally in your professional career at this point?
Yeah, well, the way I see it is I've been training for just over 10 years now. And so yeah, things are finally just starting to fall into place. I'm starting to find my groove in fighting. Um, success is not something you just reach overnight. Success is a culmination of everything you put in for so much time, super consistent, and then what's there's like a saying, it takes years of hard work to become an overnight success. It's like that.
Yeah.
So you look, there wasn't anything crazy that I did, for example, between the first Carlene fight and then the Jaylene fight. They were only 6 weeks apart, but I just had a little bit of a shift of mentality, and then also, it's just a different opponent. So I looked a lot different in the Carlene fight than I did in the Jaylene fight, but it wasn't because anything dramatically changed in my training. um Also, it was a little hard for me to find my rhythm in the striking with Carlene in both of our fights, just because she's a little odd, I guess, in the way that she fights. And then also mentally, it was a little challenging to fight her because I don't respect her as a martial artist. I don't think she's any good, but at the same time, it's fighting and anything can happen. And it was really good for me to lose that pro debut because it just reminds me that, look, if Carlene could beat me, anybody can if I'm caught slipping, like I have to stay sharp. I have to stay on my game, and and just be humble and be ready.
Oh no, I lost you. Uh-oh.
One
I hope
second.
it's oh my god, no, I lost her.
Stop calling me.
No, people are calling you.
Ah. Okay, am I back?
You're back. You're good.
Shoot. Sorry about that phone call. Um so yeah, just it was just a little hard for me to find my rhythm on the feet though with Carlene. Like and in the second fight, hold on. I'm on the
You're like, hold on, let
Okay.
me send this text real quick.
Okay.
You're all good.
Oh my god. So yeah, her coming out in that southpaw stance in the second fight, that kind of changed things a little bit. Again, it just took me a second to make the adjustment to find my rhythm there. Anyway, with Kaya and with Jaylene, I feel like it was just a lot easier for me to find my rhythm right away with the striking. And in the Jaylene fight, especially, I came out really strong right at the beginning. And then, kept that momentum through the fight. And with
Yeah.
and with Kaya, so those girls. So yeah, it'll just every fighter's different. Every fight is unique. Matchups make fights, of course, and so it's going to be interesting to see how this goes with Zarina and I. Zarina has a little bit of a wild style, kind of similar to Carlene, where she's very much like a brawler, but she's higher level than Carlene by a lot, and she is more thoughtful too. I mean, she'll take risks, like she's not scared, but she's not just doing stupid things either. She's calculated. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I'm looking forward to Zarina. I mean, gosh, when I watched her fight against Jaylene, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm totally gonna fight Zarina. I don't know when, but I'm gonna fight Zarina, and it's probably gonna be soon. And then here we are, a few months later.
Right, right. Yeah, so like you said, Zarina, a bit of a controlled chaos kind of style. It's fighting. Anything can happen. And so to know that the mentality shift happened for you, that's amazing. And you could see it. You can see it immediately after that first fight. The product just kept growing and growing in the way you fought. And so getting into this fight, fighting a controlled chaos kind of person, knowing what you're able to do. Kind of you could say striker versus grappler, but I think again everything is kind of clicking with you and you're flowing in your style. So, do you see this being kind of like another dominant victory for you?
I see it being a really dominant victory. I'm not sure, if it'll go all the way to decision, but probably not. I mean, both of us are really aggressive, and both of us are there to put on a fight, and both of us are there to get the job done. So I'm gonna say, here's my prediction. I'm gonna say we're gonna take the first round to like really beat each other up, but the thing is, we're both tough, and we're not gonna like neither of us is gonna fold. And then second round, I see myself taking her down and ground and pounding her.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
see
that's
another
awesome to
another
hear.
TKO.
That's so cool to hear. So another thing I wanted to bring up, I know Jaylene actually called you out and wanted the rematch for the title. And I know hearing now you're a free agent, you're not signed to Invicta. You did sign the contract, but you're not signed to Invicta, and you can now return to A1 if you wanted to after this fight. Does that fight interest you at all? Is the rematch there? Do in your head, I know the higher ups have the final say, but in your head, does that rematch make sense for you for the title?
Right now, the rematch with Jaylene makes no sense. Because look, she lost against me. She won against Carlene, which again, Carlene is nobody. That one doesn't really. I mean, it's a fight still, but it's nothing impressive. She won against Serena, which is good. I mean, Serena's a good opponent, so that's a good win for her. But I'm about to beat Serena too, so she just needs to be worth me fighting again. if she wins a few more fights and makes a name for herself and becomes somebody that would be worth me beating, then yeah, I'll go ahead and fight her again. I'll beat her again, and that's going to go ahead and advance my career. But me fighting her right now would not advance my career. So why would I fight her? It doesn't help me to fight her right now. And yeah, I know she wants to, like, look, the reason she lost our fight is because she made some tactical mistakes. For example, she wants to go on and on about how she took me down and somehow that means she should have won the fight. It's like she didn't secure that takedown. She dumped me down and then just let me pop right back up, you know. Put me on the cage but didn't do anything with it, wasn't trying to take me down. I reversed her and was trying to take her down. The reason she lost the fight is because she did some things wrong. And rather than acknowledging the things that she did wrong and working to fix those things, instead she wants to blame it on some grand conspiracy that A1 has against her and how the judges are, I don't know, my friends or something. I don't even know those judges. Like, what are you talking about? So look, her whining on the internet is not going to earn her a rematch with me. Her going out there and winning fights, though, that'll earn a rematch against me. Uh, so yeah, she's just gonna have to wait her turn. That's all. And no amount of making noise on the internet or attempting to cyberbully me or whatever. None of that's gonna work. She just has to go out there and prove that she's someone worth my time, and then yeah, she'll get my time.
Right, right. So that first of all, great response. I love the way you talk. I don't know if you've ever been media trained, but dang girl, you're ready for this. But but yeah, so I 100% hear what you're saying. In the featherweight division, do you believe A1 is willing to bring in somebody, to challenge you for that title beforehand? Like maybe pluck somebody from far away to come in and fight you? Because I know the business is the business, but do you see that happening, or do you see, eventually Invicta FC is going to be home?
Well, my plan right now is after this next fight, I want to defend my A1 belt, like hopefully in January or February. I don't know when their shows are going to be in the new year, but I want to stay really active. So as soon as I can defend that belt, I'm going to. I have a list of girls I want to fight. I've had several girls, get back to me that they're willing to fight me or they're interested in it. Um, yeah, so I don't think I'm gonna have any problem finding an opponent, and I have a few, so I'm
That's
ready to defend
awesome.
that belt.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. And again, it sounds like you have a great head on your shoulders in terms of business as well. You're the way you're speaking right now is like, it sounds like pure business. You're ready to this is your thing. So that's awesome to hear. The way you're approaching this is really smart and intelligent. So it's really cool to hear, you're not hot headed like, yeah, I'll freaking fight her. Like you're like, no, if this makes sense, we'll do it. So that's really cool. And that makes a lot of sense as to where you are now in your pro career. So talking about
Also,
November
I'm
6th.
sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I just say one more thing about this girl, Jaylene?
Go
Like,
for
and
it.
I don't want to give her too much airtime because again, like she's in my rearview mirror right now. But look, I just for people who are curious, I messaged her on Instagram last year asking her to fight me because I was looking for someone to make my pro debut against, and it was before. Yeah, I think I messaged her before the match with myself and Carlene was even set. But she was coming up through the camo ranks and she had won the camo lightweight and welterweight titles, which I had held those titles previously. Yeah, and she was making her debut. And then when I lost, I was like, hey, are you willing to fight? And I had told Tom, you know, what if you put Jaylene and I together and then whoever wins that fight gets the rematch with Carlene? And he's like, yes, okay. So like I'm the reason she even got the opportunity to go pro because look, it's not that easy to go pro. It's
Right.
not easy to find opponents for one, to get promoters to put you on their show. Like I brought her to A1 and I'm the one who called her out, right? And then I fought her and I won. And then she's trying to be like, "You're scared to fight me." It's like, am I though? Am I? I don't think so.
Oh man. Wow. I did not know that there was a whole backstory to that. That's crazy.
Like that girl owes me a card and some flowers. Like I have helped her in her career.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, to find fights as a debuter um in women's MMA is close to like the decision you make to go pro and then to finally get that first pro fight, that pro debut. It's like a 6 month, 10 month, 12 month period. And so to know that you did that and it was just like a, all right, let's give some Joy let's give Joy some flowers. Come on, let's give her flowers cuz that is true.
Yeah, for real. And the way that I feel about all these girls ultimately is that they're my coworkers, you know? I don't have beef with any of them. Even Carlene, I don't have beef with her. I don't particularly care for her, but like whatever. We're coworkers at work together. So, you know, let's
Right.
just do some work together.
Right. All right. So November 6th, this fight with Zarina goes the way that you anticipate it going. You plan on defending that A1 title. After that, though, Joy, what is next for you? Women's MMA is very different. The opportunities are scarce, but when they're there, they're big. So where do you see your career after those two, intentions? Where do you see, do you hope to get that call? Do you hope to fight somewhere a stable spot in Invicta or a stable spot in A1? Where do you see it going?
So here's my hope. I'll win this fight in dramatic fashion. Get noticed, get more eyes on me. I'll defend my belt again, make a statement. The better that I perform in these fights, and it's not just about winning, but it's about winning in really dominant fashion. So, um, again, if I can win my Invicta debut, defend my A1 belt, hopefully get one or two more fights with Invicta, get a shot at their belt because currently their featherweight belt is vacant. So if I can prove that I'm worthy of a title shot, earn that title shot, and get that Invicta belt, then I feel like I can go anywhere from there.
Right.
I don't know if the UFC currently has any women's featherweights. It seems like all the featherweights that they have had have dropped back down to bantamweight. So that's unfortunate. But again, the UFC just needs a reason to put women featherweights back on there. And if I'm the reason, then so be it. But where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm going to keep knocking on that door until it opens. And I'm just going to have to fight well enough to convince them that they should have women featherweights back on their show. But it is a big goal of mine to be a UFC fighter and to, fight in that big show and prove that I deserve to be there.
Right. Yeah. Break a barrier and bring that 45 back. When it comes to women's MMA, I mean, who better to ask? Let me ask you this. So we see we're running into some issues here where everyone has to kill themselves to cut to 35. So bringing that 45 division would be amazing. But we're seeing an issue here when it comes to bringing more to the UFC roster. I mean, Invicta used to be just a pure funnel to the UFC, and now you have champions like Danny McCormick who are having a hard time getting a call from the UFC, or took very long for fighters like Fatima Klein to get a call to the UFC, and when she did, unfortunately losing her debut. So where do you see the sport going in terms of women's MMA? Where do you see in 5 years? Where do you see women at in the UFC?
Well, I think that the women's spot in the UFC is secure. I don't see it going anywhere. I believe that they're going to add more weight classes. I think they're going to add the lower weight classes. I think that atom weight class is really close to being added. There's a lot of talent for those really small girls. And then yeah, the featherweight and hopefully a women's open weight because look, there are Gabby Garcias out there, right?
Right.
And so I think that'd be really entertaining, and I think a men's open weight would be super entertaining too.
Right.
But the sport's only growing, so for the men's and the women's side, there's gonna be more and more opportunities. I think the future looks really bright.
Yeah, and hopefully you are the one to break that barrier for the 45 division in the UFC. That would be amazing to see. But as the trajectory of your career is showing, I have very high hopes for that. I'm
Thank
excited
you.
for your career, Joy. I'm excited to see everything that's going on for you. When I seen you make that Instagram post about Invicta FC, I was like, it's about damn time. So to know the character you are and the person you are and how you keep it real on Instagram and you keep it real in person. I mean, I can tell right now by chatting with you that this is who you are and this is what you do, point blank, period. So it's awesome to hear. Nobody better. And so this fight November 6th, get everybody hyped up. Play by play, you told us how it's going to go, but give us a little bit more detail. You're walking into the cage, Joy. What do the fans, what should they expect to see?
They should expect some fireworks. I'm not scared. I'm not scared to get hit. I'm not scared to throw. Uh, I love to grapple, I love to wrestle, but once I get down on the ground, I'm not hunting for submissions. I'm hunting for a knockout. If the submission offers itself to me, I'll take it. But I'm always looking to strike, always looking to make these girls respect me on the feet and on the ground, and let them know that they're not safe anywhere with me. I know Zarina's the same way. She's going to be coming to take my head off. She's not scared. She's super aggressive, super accomplished fighter. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a really great fight. And I always feel like the higher quality opponent that I face, the higher quality my performance becomes.
Right.
It brings out the best in me to fight a really game opponent, a really good opponent. I feel like I perform worse when I fight someone who's worse. So Zarina, I'm confident is going to be my toughest opponent yet, and so I think it's going to be my best fight yet.
That's awesome. That is so awesome to hear. All right. Oh, also, I want to know, to see all the interviews you're doing. It's so awesome to see the people you're talking to, because I remember, so we chatted before your pro debut, obviously. But to see that the world is now on notice of Killjoy is amazing. It's so satisfying and well deserved. You have earned this attention. You have earned your opportunities. So November 6th, we are excited to watch you on CBS, which is amazing. Shout out to Invicta. That's a big deal. Women's MMA on CBS Sports. Give us some more detail. Tell us around the time you're probably going to be fighting or the start time. And yeah, give us a little bit more detail and where we can follow you on Instagram as well.
I'm on the main card, which is really cool. So the main card starts at 6 p.m. Pacific time, so California time, 6 p.m. And CBS Sports. I imagine I'll probably fight probably in the middle of the card. So probably 7. Tune in at 7 p.m. Make sure you don't. Well, tune in at 6 p.m. just to make sure you don't miss it. But definitely by 7 p.m.
Cool. All right. And where can we follow you?
Yes, I'm Killjoy Jiu-Jitsu online. And one last thing I want to say too is just before I had ever even sparred, I would watch Invicta fights because of course that's where the ladies were fighting, and I wanted to, see the women fight. And it was just so cool, like watching the women on there and seeing that and thinking to myself, like, wow, wouldn't that be so badass if I could be on that show? Like, and I would imagine myself fighting in that cage. And that was before I was even sure, like, I even wanted to fight, because I'd
Right.
never been hit before. I didn't even know how I would even do with all that stuff. But just seeing it really fascinated me. And I couldn't help but just think about how it must feel to step in there and how it must feel to do it. And then, yeah, just little by little, I've just trained more and more, and then I started fighting, and then I went pro, and then all of a sudden it's happening. I'm going to be in that Invicta cage, just like I daydreamed about 10 years ago. So it's wild. But I will say that, your life tends to flow in the direction of your thoughts. So keep your thoughts positive and always keep your eyes on your goals and on your dreams, and trust the process and work hard, have a good attitude, and the rest is going to take care of itself.
Absolutely. And we're seeing it work out for you. You are now some little girl's going to be watching that fight November 6th and thinking, I want to be like her. So cool, for a full circle moment for you. That's amazing. I'm so excited. November 6th, you guys do not want to miss it. Her Invicta FC debut, Killjoy. looks to make a statement. Thank you for talking to me today. I'm all hype. I got chills and shit. But thank you for talking. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome that I got to chat with you at your debut, get to chat with you now, your debut with Invicta. And so hopefully don't forget me when you make it to the UFC and start that 145 Killjoy. I need to talk to you.
Don't forget about me either. I'm down to talk to you anytime.
Sounds good. All right, guys. You guys do not want to miss it. November 6th, tune in. CBS Sports, Invicta FC. Watch Killjoy make a statement and get her ass to the UFC and start us a damn open weight or 145 division. Damn it. Oh, you're going to be in front of Megan Anderson as well. Who better? That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Joy, thank you for joining us today. We'll be posting this soon, and I can't wait for people to watch this. They're going to know the name. It's going to be a household name, Killjoy.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. Wait, before you go, is there anybody you want to thank, sponsors, anybody you want to mention before we close this out?
Yeah, so my friend Bryce, who owns Hat Trick Data and People Finders, he's been a great sponsor for me. And then Godiva, Kendall Vernon, she's been amazing. Those are my two big sponsors. Let's see, the Roseville Hyperbaric Center, they just started sponsoring me. So I've been going in there doing hyperbaric chamber therapy, which has been awesome for my recovery and helping me, keep all those training injuries at bay. And then, of course, my coach, Daniel Brito, I came to him as an 0-2 amateur. And he's totally, taught me how to fight, taught me how to put some of those skills together, and just been by my side through everything. I think, with my my Muay Thai and my boxing and my MMA and all the striking fights combined, I think we're something like 15-1 together now. So, yeah, it's been really cool to have him there. Dion Pimento, my kickboxing trainer, a long time old friend of mine. And then, the whole crew at Precision, Chad Bingham, Sarah McMahon, the whole crew at Alpha Male, of course. I've been training there every morning. My favorite training partner, Daniel Zaragoza. Big shout out to Danny. He's like huge, helping me drill and prep. And Alex Sandoval, and of course Uriah, and just all the coaches and teammates at Team Alpha Male have been really amazing. And my teammates at Burritos too. I can't just mention my coach. It's also my teammates, and my friend Javi is just an amazing spar partner for me. And gosh, there's just like so many people that help me. I mean, there's no way, I'm even going to remember everybody, but, and then, my students, my family at Jiu-Jitsu, Willis Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, the school that I own, they're so supportive, and, I have such a strong network there. And, Jake Pruis, who owns Sublex Jiu-Jitsu, he's an affiliate gym of mine, and, he covers classes for me on Wednesday evenings, and, helps me free up a little bit more time so that I can get more training sessions in. And then my friend Steven, he covers for me on Fridays a lot of times at Willis Jiu-Jitsu. So gosh, so many people are helping me prepare, helping me get to this point, helping me stay at the top as I've gotten to this point, but then I have even further to go. So yeah, thank you to everyone who's been a part of it.
Awesome. You got a village, I hear. That's awesome to hear. Also, your good friend, Jelena Hampton. I got her a title fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
I overheard her saying she was fighting, and then I didn't get to ask her all the details, but
yeah, I was able to get her that title fight. The girl denied her at first when she first reached out. I think you let her know. And then this go around, I'm like, nah, she's getting this title fight. I hit her up and she was down, of course, which is awesome. So, hey,
Jelena's a monster.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. I'm excited for that one. I get to commentate that night, and I got chills. I'm nervous. But all right, let's close this up. Killjoy, thank you very much for joining us. And shout out to all the people that helped you get here. Shout out to your village, because it sounds amazing. It sounds like a lot of support, which is exactly what fighters need going into things like this. November 6th. I'm so excited.
Same.
But we will chat soon. Hopefully we can chat after that fight, get a little bit of a breakdown, and talk about what's next.
Yes, definitely. I look forward
All
to
right.
it.
All right. Killjoy, have a good one.
You too. Take care.
All right. You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.